everyone, thanks for joining. We've got a couple minutes left here before everyone is joining. It looks like we have about 13 people in here today. So I'm just going to share my screen for you guys. And perfect. Now, have any of you that are in here, have you ever done any kind of drip campaign or things like that within the Agent Locator system? Or is this all new territory for you guys? So that's basically what we're covering today is email templates, SMS templates, email campaigns, things like that. It's what's great about email campaigns is generally you can set it and forget it, which you know, helps us out. It kind of picks up some of the legwork for us when we're doing that, doing our follow-ups or trying to engage with some of our clients. So I'm just going to stream here to our Facebook page for those that are not on here. So just bear with me. Okay. Where is? So can everyone hear me? Joseph says he can't hear me. Okay, so Joseph, you may need to, okay, so perfect. So Joseph, you may need to adjust your, on the microphone, select the audio output, so the speaker, there. Okay, you can hear me now, good, awesome. And I'm just waiting for this Facebook thing to do something. Because it seems to be taking its sweet time. So how many of you, since you're all kind of stuck at home, how many of you been like jumping into your CRM or jumping into your website a little bit more during these times, or do you find yourself just kind of not doing those things, which definitely we sometimes do that. Needless to say, we kind of get stuck in these little ruts where we're like, well, I'm just not going to do it. There's nothing forcing me to. All right. Okay. So Sharon's been away. Awesome. So for all of you that are on here, some of you may have been on past ones as well. We are trying to do, you know, webinars pretty much almost every single day as we're trying to do something to allow you guys to learn more about the systems that you have, services, features, things like that, so that you guys, you know, you have more time right now essentially to be working on the back end of things, when typically, you know, in real estate, you guys are being pulled in every which direction at any given time. So it can definitely be a little bit more of a struggle to be learning these things, most definitely. And I'm not sure why the live stream is taking so long, but I am just going to start in here. So in your Agent Locator CRM system, you do have the ability, obviously, to create email templates, create SMS templates, as well as incorporate those into drip campaigns as well. So for any of you that have this system, you know, when you click on somebody's email, you do have that ability to select a template that you already have created in here. It just makes it a little bit easier for you guys. So instead of having to write those emails every single time, if the content is generally very similar, it just makes it a little bit easier. It's already a prefabbed templated email that you may just modify a little bit of a detail in there. So the same also goes to the SMS messages as well. So you can create your own canned messages for SMS if you guys are using the Twilio feature. The canned messages are located in this little plus sign here. So you can actually go ahead and create a template right from here, and then all your little SMS like templates. So if I was to, you know, select this, for example, it would just automatically incorporate that text that I want. And so it just allows you to speed up your process and quickly send it. Also, if you're sending out mass SMS messages all at once, it's always best to have those as a template. That way you can include short code in there as well. So it just helps to speed up your processes, especially for those of you that do have a larger workflow or a larger lead base that you're following up with. So how you're going to access both of those in here is through this little gear on the side. Yes, Joseph. So we'll go through that. You can name your SMS templates whatever you want them to be. And I do have a question with respect to image source code from your computer to your email. So if you do have source code, we'll go over that as well when we're going through the email section, Mindy. So over here on the gear is where you have a bunch of settings aspects. So with respect to SMS templates, we'll just start there first, is you can create some SMS templates for yourself. So all you do is simply go add new template. And you can, if you want to kind of pull up an old template that you have, that you want to kind of create a new template, you can pull up an existing template. You can just give it a name as well. So let's just call this one test template. And then you have the decision. So if you're the primary account holder in your CRM system, you can create company templates. Company templates mean that if you have additional user accounts within your system, so you have buyer agents, for example, if you create them as a company template, that means everyone in your organization can use those templates. If you are not the primary, you will likely only have the option to create a personal template. Personal templates mean that they're personal to you. They're not accessible by any other user account within the system. So just for demonstration, I'll do it as a company template. And as you notice here, you do have short code on the right-hand side. This is going to automatically pull information. So whether it's information to do with your lead, information to do with yourself, you have the element short code, which basically replaces it with the time of day. So if you did like good and then you put this after that, it would replace it with morning, afternoon, evening, just depends on what time that text is being sent out. And then you also have activity. So the activity short code is going to be reflective of what that person was doing on the website. So again, if you're sending this to 10 different people all at once, it would automatically pull based on whoever is receiving it based on their online activity, of course. So it's pretty simple. So if we were to go like, hi, and then you can go first name, this is automatically going to replace the first name of the lead, and then comma, you know, I haven't heard back. Heard back. Are you still interested in discussing your real estate needs? Question mark. And then, for example, in this case, agent first name, you just drag and drop. You just drop it right there. So one thing that you guys should know if you're trying to do little shortcuts for yourself, these shortcodes are 100% case sensitive. So they have to be exactly as is, otherwise they will not work. And did I spell this wrong? Discussing. Oh, I spelled discussing. It won't work. It'll be like, hi, first name. And it only takes you once to do it, and you think you know it, and you just sent out, I've been there, done that, an email or a mass SMS that says, hi, first name. So it's always best that you drag and drop those to avoid that. Now, once you do have this created, you just simply go down to the bottom and hit save. So you can go through and you can create several just little canned messages if that's something that you care to do for yourself. So I'm just going to close that off. So if we go back over here now, we're going to be able to see if I open up any lead in here, if I wanted to send them an SMS, that SMS is now available as a template in the company section, test template. There we go. We can see it automatically pulled the first name, and the account holder in this case is AgentLocator, so it replaced that. So if I send it, this is actually connected to my phone, so I will actually get that message to myself there. So those are the SMS templates. Does anyone have any questions surrounding that? No questions, no questions. Feel free to speak up, feel free to ask questions. The goal is to, get you guys on board and understanding things to the best of your capabilities. The primary. Okay, so you mentioned the primary holder can share. Yeah, so the primary, so Carrie, for example, if you are the primary agent, like you signed up for AgentLocator and you're the main account holder, you would create those templates that you want, let's say, your buyer agents to have. If you wanted your buyer agents to have access to those, what you would do is you would then, just similar to what I did when I created it, you would create it as a company template. Okay, so that way everyone has access to it. If you create it as a personal template, it just means you have access to it. So sub-users will only gain the company templates that you create as company templates. Otherwise, each user can create as many personal templates as they want to, if that makes sense to you. If like a sub-user basically has a template that they created that they want to share with a friend, they would have to manually share that with them outside of AgentLocator so that they can add it in, or ask the team leader to create it as a company template so everyone has access to it. Joseph, the SMS messages can be automated, yes. So you can have them as part of a drip campaign for sure. When it comes to incoming leads and that automation, so that'll be kind of part of what we cover through those through the campaign section, is you do need to have the automated lead gen site to be in place in order to have a campaign run automatically. But if you create your campaign, you can still manually assign that campaign, and those texts will definitely go out on your behalf. And so we'll go over that with you. So we'll go and close this out. So the next is going to be the email section. So up here, you do have emails that you have up here. Now, there is different areas of this. The one thing pointing out to you guys is this question mark at the top. This question mark is going to change reflective of where you're at within the CRM. So right now, we're currently under the email settings page. So all these help videos are reflective of that. So even after this webinar, if you feel like you need a little bit more, direction with regard to any of these features, whether it's templates or email signatures, whatever it may be, you definitely have those to access. And Ingrid, yes, you can mass text. You can definitely mass text a campaign or any SMS templates out. So we'll just quickly go into, and then also we'll go into the SMS template. So you can edit these templates. So when you're in this SMS template, so for the person who asked this, sorry, I forgot who it was, you have all your templates here, and you have this little edit button on the side. So if at any time you want to edit those text messages that you've already created, you definitely have that ability to. And for the mass SMS, so when you have your database, for example, typically when you're sending out any kind of mass communication, your open and engagement rate is 100% improved if you have it a little bit more targeted. So each communication is a little bit more targeted. So consider yourself, if you're a current homeowner and somebody's sending you a message about being a first-time buyer, you're not going to engage in that, right? You're not a first-time buyer. You're like, why the heck are you sending this to me? So always using your filters to try to narrow it down, whether it's a text that you're targeting towards a lead type of home seller or lead type of home buyer, that sort of thing. But generally what you would do is you would just select all your leads here by clicking this little top check mark spot, and then you would also go select all. So because it'll only select the ones on the first page, so then you would just move to select all 106. And then you would do your apply actions, send mass SMS, and then this is where you would choose your template. So if I wanted to send that test template, that sort of thing, you could send that out. You can call it, it's a mass text, so you can call it whatever you want to if you care to do that, entirely up to you. So for anyone that has had training with AgentLocator and you've received a text message, for example, with respect to booking training, it was a mass text. So a lot of time when I do communications on behalf of AgentLocator, I do in mass quantities. I personally don't have time to go through each and every person one by one, manually sending them text. I just shoot them all off all at once and away you go. It's also a great way, the SMS is, when you're sending those mass SMS, to engage in some of those older clients, right? So maybe those that you've exhausted all your phone call efforts and what have you. You send them a mass text similar to the one that I created, and it allows those people to respond, and it kind of tells you where to direct your focus and things like that. Yes, I can slow down, Leslie. So is there anything you needed to recap on, Leslie, that you didn't get? Just going to see in here. Okay, so where to click to select all, and Raj monthly newsletter. There we go. Okay, I'm just going to pull through these. So number of text message you can send out in a month. No. So Carrie, there is no max on the number of SMS messages you send out, and no, it doesn't matter how many people you select. We encourage that you kind of do it in groups of 200 at a time if you are doing that, just because you keep your number under the radar, so to speak. So anything over 200, it kind of just starts to get noticed. And so if you're continuing to send out like day after day, 1,000 text messages, and people start to mark your phone number as spam, essentially, the last thing you want is for that to happen and your Twilio number to get shut down. So kind of keeping it under the radar. But also, not to mention, is the biggest and first mistake that people make is they'll be like, I'm just going to select all of these people, and there's like 1,000 of them, and they send a message out. You have to remember people will respond. Not all 1,000, but people will respond. I think everyone has made that error at least once. The first time they send out a mass text is not accounting for the responses that they're going to get and how much time it's going to take to respond to them. So if you are like tackling a large database, break it up into groups, and then that way you can manage those incoming responses rather than people waiting, for a significant amount of time to get a response from me, because I've done it, trust me. And make sure you have time, again, to respond. So if you're on your way out the door and you're like, oh, I'm just going to follow up with these people quickly, not recommended, because again, there's going to be a chunk of them that respond. So for Leslie to select all these people, again, what you're going to do is you're going to select over here in the top left-hand corner, the top square. This is going to select this entire column. And then you go over here. I'm just going to go to select all first. So you go here, you select this, and then over here you go select all to select all of the leads that have appeared, whether it's 1, 2, 3 pages. It just shows you to select all of them. And then that's where you can go to move your apply mass actions up there. Perfect. So going back into our email now over here. So we are kind of working on those email templates. So one trick I do want to give you guys is there is a lot of templates in the back end that is accessible for you guys. They're not all in here. But one thing you're going to want to do most definitely is, if you are using these templates, is to edit them 100%. Some people have made the mistake of even just setting up a client or a lead on an old campaign that was created who knows when, but the information isn't relevant. It'll ask, let me know if you're interested in the hot list of properties or what have you. And then I've had agents be like, where is this list of, where is this? I'm like, well, looks like you're going to be creating a hot list of properties now. So it does happen. So always know what you're sending. So there is no template for blogs or newsletters. There is no template, so to speak, for that. Now, if you have a design that you would want to use, you could always email it to support, and they could put it together for you, depending on how complex that template is. There may be a cost. It's hard to really determine. Just depends on how long it's going to take for them to recreate that template for you, and then really you just have to drag and drop. One thing that we did find that is pretty cool, and so on the, I think it's the 17th, we're doing a webinar just on like open houses. So using the landing page creator, feeding those leads into the, open house leads into the system, how to market to those people, and so on and so forth. So we came across this site called Poster My Wall. Not sure if you guys have ever seen this before, but it's actually a pretty cool website. So you can create all these different things. So whether it's an open house flyer or a new listing. So for example, let's just see if they have a newsletter one on here. So there is some newsletter ones, and you would actually edit it right on here. So let's say if I wanted to edit this one, I can customize that template. It is free to use. You can do a paid service on here. So if you don't do the paid service, basically at the very bottom, there's like a little poster my wall. What do you call those? Anyway, so that the watermark, essentially, that will be on there. But aside from that, you can just like edit this, call it whatever you want. And then when you're done, you can download it and then add it as an image if you want to in there, if you want your template to be an image. Which is fine probably for open houses or new listings that are coming soon, or that sort of thing, where it's more of like information that they can just look and it's pictures. Not sure if you would want to do that. I haven't played around here. You may have that ability to click on this and link. Again, I haven't really played around. I just know it exists, and it's a great tool to have. And it's free. Within watermark, with no watermark. Okay, so Canva does very similar. I feel like this might be similar to Canva or the same group of company. I feel like it might very well be. It is the Poster My Wall. When you go to download, you can do it, or you can upload. Some people aren't bothered by this. Some people are. Really depends. So it is called Poster My Wall, Fazia. So there's a lot of there's definitely a lot of different ones that you can leverage on here. So for example, open house, really whatever you want. There's all these just cool templates that you can use and replace and do fun things with. So even if you find a template like this that maybe you want our support team to try to create for you as a template, again, you can just download it, shoot it over to them, and they would be able to tell you if that's something that they're able to do or not. I'm just making sure that I have everything. So Jeff White. So Leslie, no, you would download it as an image and then throw it in. I can show you guys how to do that, most definitely. And so QPUs, can you filter before you go to mass SMS? So what is the activity section about when building the SMS template? I'm not sure I understand that second part. But yes, you can. So yes, you would filter, depending on your mass SMS, really, whatever it is. Like some mass SMS may be suited for all audiences. Some may be specific to, like if you're like it's somebody about selling their house, you may want to specify that to go just to sellers that have come into your system. So it's really dependent on your current database, but I'm not too sure what you mean about the activity section when building the SMS template. So from Poster Wall, I'll just show you guys quickly while I'm on here how to do that. So I'm just going to edit this template, customize it, and then download it and show you what that's about. So I'm just going to download it as is. So you can have the basic image. It's free. It has a watermark, that sort of thing. So you can buy different things. So it's great as well if you're doing this and you're sending it off to a printer. You can definitely do that. You can also share. You can embed it on a website as well. So they do give embed codes as well. So I'm just going to download this. So it goes. I have copy of real estate. And so I'm going to go back into our CRM now. And I'm just going to go create new, just to show you guys how this works. And then to add an image into your email, you just click this little download button. and it's going to pull up your computer, and mine was a download. So this was this one right here. And I'm going to open that. And that's going to throw that image right into the email. Okay, the current size that it is, however you've done it. Now you can link this. So once that image is there, you click it to highlight it in blue, and then you would click this little insert link, and you could put the URL of your website. So if we open up your website and you pull up that listing on your website, you can copy the entire URL and put that there. Always change the target to new window. That way if someone clicks in it, it doesn't take over their current screen. It just opens a new tab up in their browser. So that's essentially in what you can do here, as well as you can preview it as well. So preview, and then you'll see how that email is going to show. Is it spanning left and right, or is it centered? Do you need to readjust it? Whatever it may be. So you have that ability to do that within here. So with the question with respect to the source code, you're going to be able to see in the view section that there is a section for source code. So if you do have images that you typically have through a source, you can definitely throw that in here and pull about it that way. And on the left, download button, there is an image button. Okay, so this image button, for example, it's giving you this. So it's a little bit different as to the source of that image. So this is like a source where it may already be on AgentLocator, the image that you're putting it in there. This is a little bit more complicated way of doing things. So typically if you have an image, it's on your system, on your computer, so you would just download it from your computer once it's on there. This is where most people get stuck. They're trying to add an image and they're like, I don't know what the source code is. So yeah, it's a little bit tricky. So I would always just download that image here. That's your best way of doing it. Unless you have the direct source, then you can add that in again into the source code section to throw that in here. So with the email templates, they're very similar to the SMS template. So you do have those short code that you can just drag and drop and put in here for those individuals that, you know, you want to reach out to. Again, it has their lead data. They do have the agent data short code as well. Element data, again, morning, afternoon, evening. Activity short codes, website registration, email. So this is more or less if you're wanting to send them this in an email. It's not very common that you would do this, but if you did, you could definitely do that. So whenever you're creating a template in here, you have the title of the template. This is for your own reference only. So this could be like your new listing template, for example. And then the subject is the subject of the email, right? That the person's going to get. And then if you're ever creating a template, you're going to put it into a category. You can create your own category as well. Okay, so whatever it may be, you can definitely throw it into its own category. That way, if you're building out a campaign, even with those templates that you have, you know they're going to be easy for you to find because they're all within the same category. It's not going to be overly complicated. So I'll just put this in uncategorized, essentially. And again, you can write whatever you want. And then always at the bottom of your emails, you're going to want to put your signature. So that's your agent data, and pull the signature so that it shows your email signature there, and then save it. So you have that. It's now a template. You could always go in and edit your templates. They're never stuck as is, needless to say. And then if you're going back home, for example, and I want to send that template out, whether it's a mass email or just an individual, again, you're just clicking on their phone number. That's going to be in here. And on categories, we have the new listing template, new listing. You can also start typing. So if you know what it's called, just start typing what you know that it's called, and then you just select it and away you go. So Brana has her signature in here. So Brana is one of our trainers here. So that's why her signature is showing at the bottom here. And then you just select and send it. So I do have some questions here. I can read the questions out loud for sure, Kim. Okay, so Raj, yes. So Raj is asking if there's a way to target home sellers for Agent Locator. I seem to only find buyers and mostly renters. So Raj, if I'm not mistaken, you're probably on a buyer campaign. So you're getting buyer leads. So you can definitely run seller campaigns for sure. You do need the branded website in order to do that, as that does have the Homeworth landing page that we tend to utilize for that purpose. But you can definitely do that. And keeping in mind, a lot of your buyers in your dashboard are sellers. It's all about asking the appropriate questions, right? Asking what their current situation is. You guys currently rent, or you guys own a home? Right, so a lot of your buyers, they are sellers. It's just finding them in there. And can you add your business card as a signature? Yes, I'm going to go through that as well. So Raj, adding a business card. So basically with your email signature, if you currently have an email signature, you can just copy the one you have and paste it in there. So I'll show you how to do that in a moment. You can also download the images as well. So if you have that, business card as an image, you can definitely do that. Sharon is asking, if the agent data is more than one person, how can you tell which one you are using? That question I don't quite understand, Sharon. If the agent data is, so the agent data, so it's going to be the person who sends it out. So whoever is sending out that text message, for example, is going to be the one who it's referring to their agent data, if that makes sense to you. If it's part of a drip, yes, that would be the assigned one. So in this case, so is that assigned one she's asking? And yes, so in this case, we have Agent Locator training. That is the assigned person. So when I'm sending those text messages out, that's who it's coming from in there. Perfect. Got some more questions over here. So Leslie, so again, we kind of covered that one. That works. Yes, I can do that. So Mandeep, with respect to your own fonts, and we can try this together right now, we definitely have our set fonts in the system. So let's just, I'm going to go, where can I go? Let's just go into Google something or other. That is not what I want. I just want to test the font somewhere. Let's go over here. I'm just going on a different screen, you guys. Because typically when you're copying, pasting, it will copy over that font that you are using. But let me just go in new document. Let's just make this X. Okay, apparently. I copied the font, so now I'm going to go in here and I will show you guys how to create the email signatures as well. So going back up into email and then email template. I am going to just edit this. Probably could have just sent it to somebody or pulled up one individual, but let's just see what happens. Yeah, it doesn't seem to. Control-Shift-B. Nope. So it doesn't look like it is going to copy all the formats that you have. And I just want to see. And I can see if there's a way as well with respect to our fonts, if there is a way that we can incorporate additional fonts into our system, because it didn't seem to want to. Let me just see if there's another one that I can copy and try it out. Yeah, it doesn't seem to be pulling that specific font, unfortunately. So hopefully that answers your question. Now, with respect to email signatures, so they are right here. So same idea. So you have the new main in the main email signature. So for most of you, that's the one that you're going to be using is this main one. You can create new email signature if there's a specific campaign basically that they're on. So if certain things have different signatures, just depending on what you're doing. So if you have 2 different websites, for example, and you want each signature to kind of coordinate with each website that you have, then you can create additional ones. But for most people, you're just going to edit this main one. So you just go over here and edit it on the right-hand side. So same idea. I am actually going to copy my Agent Locator one. So if you already have like a Google account, Hotmail, any account really where you've got an email signature already created, you can simply just copy the one that you have and throw it in here. It does work. So I'm just going to copy the one that I have in my Google account. I'm just going to edit this out and go Control V. So it is the Control V to paste that in there. It does automatically put it in these little containers as well, which you can shrink. And it's just because I had containers in my email. But that's essentially, and then once you have that in there, again, images can be linked. So if they're already linked in your main email that you currently use day to day, that linking will carry over. If they're not linked, again, if it's an image that you're throwing in here, you would just highlight it and then click the link button in there. So if you're not sure, you can also highlight text, for example, and create those hyperlinks as well. So in this case, www.agentlocator.ca. And again, always to target in a new window and then go OK. Going to ask if I want the prefix, but now this is actually a link. So if somebody clicks on it, it will redirect them. Now, one thing you're going to notice in this email signature part is you don't see the download button. So in that case, you're just going to click the second one, and that's the same. It appears differently in there. But again, if you do have those business cards, you can most definitely throw those in there if it's an image and size it appropriately. You can also preview it. So if you're doing anything and you want to see what it's going to look like first and foremost, you can definitely do that. In this case, mine is like really wonky as far as the spacing goes. So I may want to take this actually out of the container that way and see if it'll allow me to just do that easily or not. So I can take it out of the container so that it's just shows a little bit more cleaner. And the formatting is still there, so that's why I'm hitting backspace and then hitting enter so that it goes. I'm just going to delete this and Control X, and I'm going to delete that table because now I don't need it. Why are you throwing it up there? But as you can see, that's how essentially you would do that. There we go. New signature created. Again, and then I can preview it. So in this case, it just appears a little bit cleaner that way than it was previously because it was in those containers. Does that all make sense to you guys? Let me see. Raj, yeah, like you can't, so Raj is asking if you don't have a business card, how to create one. Do I just take a picture of a card and try to upload it? You could, essentially in hindsight, the quality of that image, I don't know what it would actually look like. So a lot of the times when you guys have ordered business cards, they send you like a proof of that. And so you could always ask if they can send that to you as an image file so that you can put it in your email signature. That's always an option. Another option is if you have it, so a little tip is I have this little thing on the left-hand side of my screen here. And this is, what is this called? I forget what this is called. I'll get to it after. I'll figure out what it is. So what you can do is take a snapshot. So for example, if I was on this flyer template and I'm closing this, and maybe I wanted to snap this as an image, I would just grab this little tool and then kind of do what you would, and then they capture the image that way. So that is an option if you have that as an image on your computer somewhere where you can grab that. And my gosh, what is this called? It's because I'm on the spot here. So it's Jing by TechSmith. It is a free service that you just go online, and then that allows you to do kind of funky things like that. No, I am finished. There we go. So hopefully that made sense to you guys. So the email signature is typically going to go out on that listing email, but you can definitely, so if you're sending, if you guys are on the automated system, you have actually the ability to edit those listing emails that go out. So you can definitely throw in an email signature down there, that's for sure. So going back into here after this, and let me just make sure there's no bursars or phone. No, so Leslie, if you say, so Leslie's asking if you create an email signature, will it typically just go out, or does she have to add it every time to those emails? So typically when you have your email signature created, it should show up in your emails regardless. So let's just pretend I'm sending an email to this person. So she has her main signature, and like, oh, I didn't save the signature. So it's still her main signature. So I didn't save it, and what I just did, I just previewed it. So her existing one is still there. So yeah, you don't have to throw it in every time. It's just when you're creating those email templates that you're going to throw it in there that way, if that makes sense to you. And there was the one, so the listings, that's where I was going to. So going into your email section again, into the listings. So you can, so this is for the automated site only. You can create your own template, or you can create a company template. So a company template means that everyone's templates change if you have a bunch of buyer agents under you. So all you do is you go create template. It's going to show you what your templates currently look like. Now there's a bunch of it that you cannot change simply because, well, a lot of people would muck things up, that's for sure. But you can definitely throw in your own signature down here. So again, if I wanted to copy my signature on Google, for example, and throw that in here, let's just see what the bottom of that email looks like presently. Yeah, so right here, it just has all the listings. So just scrolling back up here. If I paste that in there, we're able to see that. Preview my template. It's going to update this template over here, and you're going to be able to see now that I've had that, added that in there. Doesn't look the greatest. Looks like it could use some pushing over. So it allows you to go in and edit those. So maybe I want to move it over a little bit. Move that over. And let's just preview. And now it looks a little better. So again, if you had your picture or what have you, if you have like an image banner that you use on your emails, you could always throw that in there as well. So there is a lot of neat things that you can do. Then you would save that template. Moving forward, you can, don't think you can edit the email subject. So it's really just this here. You can edit this top portion. So if you do have like your own logo, for example, that you want to use instead in that spot, you would then just download, of course, that logo that you have. I don't even know what this is. Let's just see what this is. This might be a very large logo, so it might not work. So there's like that logo, for example. Maybe I need to make this smaller so that the rest of the things work. If you guys, again, are having any kind of struggling issues with this whatsoever, our support team will help you. So if it's just like you can't get whatever to go wherever you want it to go, it's just not working out for you, our support team can definitely assist you on that for the placement of those images. Again, with these images, you can also link it as well on here. Let's see, questions. So, uh, no, so Cindy, the email list wasn't in the new listing. So we can even go, I can even go back. So social media links, so Mandeep Mahit, that is going to be, so he wants to know how you add social links, media links to the signature with icons. So those again would be images that you throw in there. So if you're editing that, you would go on to, let's say, let's just go on to Google, and I want to search for YouTube, and just search YouTube, and then I want images. And let's just say I want this image. You can copy it. And usually you can just paste it in there, and then just, so let's just go down here, go Control V. It's a very large image. So when you click on it, you can right click on that image and change it. So maybe I want it by like 111 by whatever that is. Definitely made that image smaller. Then you would link that image over to YouTube or your URL. So for your Facebook pages, things like that, just go onto your actual Facebook page and grab that URL. Go onto your actual YouTube channel, grab that URL. Same for LinkedIn, same for all of those. And then that's how you would go about doing that. So hopefully that answered your question there. And then Cindy, we will check to see on the new listing. So we'll look on an old one. So what we're going to do is go in here. We're going to open up an existing lead that I can see has gotten listings, for example. And we'll see what that, I'm pretty confident it doesn't automatically show in there, but we will see. So if we go down here, yeah, it doesn't have that in there. It's all just the listings in here. So again, in those emails, you can customize this top banner as well as throw in your email signature up there. Perfect, just making sure. There, like Facebook and each other next to each other. When I'm linking them, then it makes them all one link. Okay, so Mandeep is asking, so like Facebook, Insta, YouTube icons next to each other, when I'm linking them, then it makes it all one link, even though I do separate. Yeah, so if you have that as one image, so it's going to, you can only link the one image. So you would have to have several different images side by side, kind of keeping those current, like the proportion of those images. So another thing that you can do is try to find, similar sizes of those images, or copy them. And what I've done, this is my like cheapy, I don't have extensive knowledge in like using, high editing software, essentially. So I'm stuck for words. So I would just use Paint, to be honest with you. I would copy it and paste it in Paint and then change the size. So it's the exact same. So each image was the exact same size, if that makes sense. And then download each image individually, but beside each other, and then link those over. So again, if you are having trouble with that, you can have support. So you have separate images, but it won't. So then you might be highlighting all the images, because each image would typically go into its own. So I don't know if you are, it shouldn't link each image. We can definitely, so Mandeep, after I can definitely look and see what you have and see if there's a way that we can fix or see what's going on there. But if you're highlighting each image separately, then each image would have its own link that you're directing it to on there. So now that, so any questions more surrounding SMS, email templates, email signatures, before I kind of go into this email campaign section of how that all works? I think we are good, or someone might be typing, but we will find out. I'm just going to, for dismiss, I am just going to get rid of some of these because there's a lot. And that way I know which ones are new. So typically when you're building out any kind of campaign, you're going to want to have those email templates and SMS templates as mentioned. So what you would do essentially is once those are created, you're going to click on the gear and you're going to go to the campaign template editor. So you can have several campaigns definitely within the system. So if you ever have to, you can search your campaigns. You can open up existing campaigns and edit them. You can also create new campaigns. So when creating a new campaign, it's going to take you through a couple steps in here. So it's going to be what your campaign is called. We're just going to call this Test New Campaign. Now you have two options when it comes to the execution type. So you have relative date and fixed date. Fixed date is surrounding, like, I would call it like a holiday campaign. Christmas always happens on the 25th. Halloween's always on the 31st of October. So those are fixed dates. So when you assign somebody to a fixed date campaign, it's not relative to when you added them to campaigns, but when you fix the date for that specific action to go out. Relative is relative to the date that you added someone to that campaign. So most of your campaigns are relative date, but if you ever want to create a simple holiday campaign so that all you have to do is set and forget, you don't have to remember to blast all your people, you know, whatever it may be, you can do that. So if you even do it at the beginning of the year, kind of pulling in all the holidays, you can definitely do that. Now, stopping clauses. Stopping clauses are going to, you can apply it to the entire campaign, or you can apply it to individual actions. So if you are applying it to individual actions, you don't need to apply it to the main campaign, or if you, the individual actions, you can actually have override the main campaign. So stopping clause means that if we add a specific tag to this lead, that campaign is just going to automatically stop. Or if the pipeline status moves to a certain status, campaign's just going to automatically stop. So let's say you have one where it's, you're trying to get some sellers. So maybe once you've signed an agreement, the campaign stops. Or maybe once they've sold, the campaign stops. So things like that. So you don't have to remember to go back in and stop those campaigns, because I know I've done it where you forget to stop the campaign and they're like, we just talked to you, blah, blah, blah. So the stopping clauses definitely do help. Now you do have silent hours. So silent hours, what it does is, let's say you are doing this for a new lead that came into your website and maybe they registered on your website at 3 o'clock in the morning. You wouldn't necessarily want your communications going out relative to that time. You would want it to go out perhaps at a time that's a little bit later in the morning. So silent hours basically prevent any of these actions going out between specific hours. So you can definitely set those up. This is a 24-hour clock, just so you guys are aware. You also have the ability to action only on business days. So if you only want any of these things going out, you know, Monday through Friday, essentially you can definitely do that. If you already have a campaign that you've created, you can clone campaigns. So you can actually clone them. So you just kind of build off the one that already exists and modify it as you may need to. So for this, I'm just going to save this campaign. And so once you've saved your campaign, you can start building out your campaign. So the first action you're going to do is click on this plus sign, and it's going to ask you, what do you want to do first? So do you want to send an email, SMS, assign to another campaign, or create a task for yourself in the system? So in this case, let's just go SMS. So the SMS is here. So this is where, like, you can type your SMS text, but definitely easier if you already have this already, right? So there you have your test campaign, or the test template email. Now, this is where, so when you're sending out campaigns, you can actually have it being sent from somebody else. So does this SMS come from the main agent assigned to the lead? Is it coming from the listing agent that's assigned to the lead? Is it coming from the mortgage agent? Or do you want to specify exactly who it's coming from? Most of the time it's coming from the main agent, but if you are working alongside, maybe you have a mortgage, an agent in your system that's alongside you that's assisting with this, maybe some of your communications are coming from that person on the same campaign. Again, you can have an individual stopping clause. So in this case, I haven't heard back. So in this case, I would probably want this not to go out if I've made contact with that person, because that would seem pretty silly if I, send them a text message and I just made contact with them about that. Now, again, each specific action, you can have silent hours. But because if you don't put them on the front page, so if you want your SMS messages, they don't go out in the middle of the night, but you're fine with emails going out in the middle of the night, then you would do it per action. Is it possible to set text and campaign to lead that registers during off hours? Yes. So Mandeep, if a lead registers on your website, so it depends on your system. So again, if you have the automated lead gen system, you can have these campaigns automatically assigned to those leads regardless of what hour of the day it is. If you are not on the automated system, you have to manually assign these campaigns. So you would be doing it first thing in the morning anyway. So hopefully that answers your question. And then I'll show you guys how to auto assign. So if you guys that are currently on lead gen and you're using the auto text feature, you can actually customize that campaign. So you can change what those text messages say. And maybe you want to add a third text message to that, or maybe you want to add an email in there. It's entirely up to you, but you can definitely change those. So I'll show you about the automatic assignment after we kind of build out a couple steps in here. Yeah, so Fazia, this is being recorded. I'm just making sure it is being recorded, so I can send it out for sure to everyone. If you guys are part of our Facebook group, it is on there as well. So let me just pull up that link just in case. So where you see the announcement to all panelists and attendees, so I'm just going to send that on there. So if you see the announcement of the upcoming webinars, Elma here, she does our digital marketing for Facebook. She's really good at posting the replays. So they'll be all on there. And I am collecting all of these and throwing them into the actual Zoom event so that once everything's said and done, you're going to get an email with all the recordings and everything discussed that's in there. And so Carrie is asking, I am assuming the email templates would display on the various options properly, correct proportion more? Yes. So when you're sending out an email or doing any of that, you're previewing it, right? So one thing that I personally do is send it to myself first. So I always have myself as a lead before I send something out to make sure that, yeah, it shows fine on desktop. Is it going to show fine on mobile? And do I need to make any tweaks to that image so that it's not showing all wonky? Usually if it is showing wonky, it's just you have to decrease the size of the image just slightly so it's not spanning left and right. But typically it will do that automatically in there. So on here, so you added this is going to be an SMS message that goes out from the main agent. Stopping clause is only if we've made contact, and then the delay period. So the delay period is from the last action. So the last action in this case is just adding this person to the campaign. So how long after they're added to this campaign does this SMS go out? So let's say I want this to go out 5 minutes after I've added them to the campaign, and then I go save. Okay, now you're going to build out additional ones. So maybe you want to do another, and maybe in this case it's an email. So creating email templates. I did create some today, and it was kind of like around sellers, and I'm going to show you where to find a bunch of these as well. So let's just seller emails. So there is, like, as I mentioned, there's a bunch of emails that may not be in your system, but there is a lot of templates. And I can't even remember which ones I edited. So these emails are already created in here. You can definitely do things to add, for sellers, things like that. And so this email, again, you do have the ability to select who this specific email is coming from. Any stopping clauses for that specific email. And then again, you have the delay period. So the delay period is from the last action. So how long after this SMS message will this email go out? So maybe I want this email to go out 2 days after that, and then save. And then you just kind of keep building it on. Maybe you want to create a task for yourself or a task for somebody else. So you have your task title. So check in, relisting, for example. You have to give it details. It doesn't allow you to not give details. You can select the priority. You assign the task to. So if this task is obviously to yourself, you would select yourself, but if you're actually wanting this task to be assigned to somebody else, then you would definitely do that, assign it to somebody else. The task delay, this is how long that task is going to delay due date in the system once it does that. We don't want any delays in this case. And then again, we have that delay period. So maybe it's 1 day after that SMS goes out or that email goes out, then we're going to save that. Okay, so there's 3 different actions that I create in here. So you can build these out. One thing that I always encourage everyone with any kind of drifts is especially if you are on lead generation, you have to keep in mind that you are already sending these people a listing email every single day. Right, so if your goal with the email campaign is to try to get somebody to respond to you, I always encourage you to stress your 8 calls first. Anyone that's had training knows what that is or should know what that is. So stress your 8 calls first and then put them on a drip campaign to kind of assist you with that. Because I always kind of say, well, if somebody responds to an email, they respond to an SMS, you're going to have to call them. So why not get them on the phone first? Because it's just doing things reverse. And it's just really supposed to help you. It's not supposed to do the job for you in essence. So that is that. So if you're doing a buyer, like spread them out because you don't want to be spammy. You don't want people to unsubscribe because it's just too much communications and they feel like you are spamming them, right? So that's not what we want them to feel. And they might try to unsubscribe from this email, but inadvertently they actually unsubscribe from the entire system when that happens. Now for automatic assignment. So it's this little button right here. So if you are on the lead gen, the automated system, you have the ability to automatically assign campaigns. So if you, let's say you wanted to create a seller campaign because you also have a branded website and you have seller leads coming in from that branded website, you could then pick the, let's say this is a Street Match one, for example, but the source is that this person came from Street Match. The sources in your CRM are referring to where that lead registered from. So if you're running lead gen, it's typically the lead gen site. So this is this one here in this case. If they are coming from the branded sites, they would be coming from this site here. For example, in this case, it's specific that this person signed up for Street Match. Then you would go in there. If you need to add sources or what have you, we can always help with that. If you want to, so maybe you're having several leads that come in. So maybe in this case, I want to just use the generic basic website. And then I want to specify, I want anyone that's a home seller, a Street Match is automatically added to this campaign. So even if somebody registers on this website, they also have to match this rule to be applied to this campaign. And then same goes for tags. Tags are really more so if you're running any kind of Facebook campaigns where those leads are coming in through the lead forms and automatically have a tag applied to them. It's also if you guys are using the landing page creator and also having tags automatically applied to those people as well. So I do see there's a question here. So Raj, Street Match is a landing page. So if you have the branded website, and I will show you what that is. So I think if I just go training basic, it should populate for me. Give me 1 second. So Street Match is if in the landing pages in your website. So you do have it under sellers. And so Street Match, what it does is when somebody comes on this page and they sign up, and depending on your board, if you're part of the Toronto Real Estate Board, they basically, they put their address in, 123, whatever it may be. I just pushed enter. They select the type of home they have and they select the radius. Then anytime a new listing comes on the market, that homeowner is going to get notified of that listing. If you're part of the Toronto board, we do also have sold information. We may also have it for other boards. I'm not entirely sure on that one. It's all reflective of what the board releases to us. And so it'll actually send that potential seller the sold details as well. So we do have one that is COVID related. If you don't have a branded website, you won't have this, but you can definitely talk to your sales individual that you dealt with and we can get that for you. So Vancouver, you wouldn't have the sold information. I'm pretty confident. I am not 100% sure. And I think that if I am going to think and Raj, I'm just going to pull you up quickly here. You do have that. So you do have your branded website. You have this page on your website. So it's a great tool, especially right now. If you guys want the COVID one, just email support at AgentLocator. They will put a COVID version of this on your website. So a lot of sellers right now, homeowners, like not even sellers, like homeowners in general, they're curious about what's happening right now and how it may affect one of their largest investments. So they can definitely add that in there for you. Perfect. And send out sold to clients. So the sold listings, so it goes, so when you're setting somebody up on Street Match, you select how frequently. So by default, the system checks daily. So if that property sold today, and that person and what have you, that person that signed up to get the sold will actually get that listing like tomorrow. So the next sweep of when, if they haven't got it, it's all depending on when it's sold, when it's logged into the board as being sold firm, and when our last pull and when that person's scheduled to get the listings. But typically it could be the same day, it could be the following day, just depends on if they've already received their email or not for the day and the timing of it all, essentially. Have it daily, but sometimes the system, it should. We can definitely have somebody look into that as well to make sure that it's set up, or if there may be. So if you guys are having any issues with your Street Match not functioning the way that you want it to, by all means, just email support and they'll take a look at it and see if there's anything that may be causing that to happen. Now, so if you're doing automatic assignment, this is how you would do it. You would just click update. Now, if you guys are replacing your automatic assignment campaign with the text campaign, for example, for new leads coming in to your website, there's 2 steps that you need to take in order for that to happen. The first step is choosing the automatic assignment. In this case, we wouldn't have these. We would just select the lead gen site. So whatever domain you have associated with your lead gen, you would then select that and then go update. The second step that you will need to do is turn off the existing one. So what you would do is go up here into the user profile, and then you go to user preferences. And then under the profile section, you're going to see this selected. So if this is already on a certain qualification campaign, you're going to turn it off. So you just go to nothing selected and then you go save. And so now, because if you left this on and you try to do it, the system is just going to like not know what to do. It's got 2 different things trying to action at the same reason, and it's just going to cause it like nothing will happen, or that lead is just going to get bombarded with text and another text and another text, and it's just not going to be good. So just remember to turn this off as well when you do that, and then save it. If that's how you're going to want to do it. Okay, so Helen has been going back with support on that. So perfect. So that's how you would set somebody up on an email campaign and how you essentially create those campaigns. And as mentioned, you can clone it. So cloning is quite simple as well. So if you guys are wanting to use those existing campaigns that we have, but you just want to modify them ever so slightly, you would just clone the campaign that you already have. So there is 2 time zones. I'm not sure why they do it in different time zones. And I don't know what this one is. It might be custom time. So let's say I wanted to create it as a Pacific time, then you just clone it. And then you can change the name, whatever you want, update it. You can keep the same rules if you want to. And then you can then just go ahead and edit these. When you're editing these campaigns, and one thing just to kind of point out to you guys, don't shut the door on yourself with questions. If some people ask a question that is going to, is it okay that I call you? Don't ask that question. Because the answer a lot of the time isn't going to be what you want to hear, and now you've literally just shut the door on yourself. You cannot call that person because they said, no, you cannot call me, so you can never really call that person anymore. So just try to keep it as open-ended if possible without shutting the door on yourself. These are all short code based on what the person looked at. So by default, this campaign, what it does is 5 minutes after a lead registers, they get that SMS. Then 24 hours later, they get another SMS. How I have modified this personally for some people is just kind of going through this email and tweaking it a little bit. Not too much, but just a little bit. And then, so this one here has stopping clauses if you've made contacts at meetings on agreement. So that's fine. I would do that. Keep that in place there. This second one here also has those stopping clauses. And this is where I would personally modify this email. Because even if you talk to someone, it's just a follow-up essentially to make sure that they got those listings, right? So, hey, I sent you some properties and, to your email, you don't even have to include the most viewed city. Email is just pulling that person's actual email address and then just kind of modifying this. Because again, it's a follow-up even if you've actually made contact with that person. Just, hey, I sent you those listings. So in this case, if I was cloning this one personally, I wouldn't have any of these stopping clauses. Maybe if they were garbage lead, I might keep it on there if I sold, but it's pretty amazing if someone comes in one day and sold the next day, that sort of thing. But you never know. So just the garbage leads, because again, I would personally want them to go out. I would want my follow-up text to go out, even if I have or have not spoken to somebody. Helen, so I was asking if they added that landing page. I am not sure where they're adding. Oh, she found it. So I'm not sure where they're throwing them in, to be quite honest with you. I know if you're asking for them, they're throwing them on there, and that's about it. So you could definitely, so again, because that is a source, right? So the COVID landing page has its own source different from Street Match. So if you wanted to create a drip campaign kind of reflective of that initially, maybe a few actions, nothing extensive, you could definitely auto-assign that. You could also have it so that you're asking them, like, are you interested in receiving weekly updates as to home prices in your neighborhood, or the statistics, day over day, week over week, that sort of thing in your area. So you can definitely ask that if you want to. Perfect. So that is that. Now I just want to show you guys that quick trick on how to import those emails into your system. So over here, so if you have a branded website, it's a little bit less of a roundabout. If you are only on the lead gen system, then what you're going to do is you're going to go into the legacy CRM. So how you're going to access that is crm.agentlocator.ca. Okay, so this is how you access the legacy. I'm going to put that in the chat here. This is only necessary for people that do not have a branded website. If you do have a branded website, you're going to be able to access that page right from your CRM system. And it is the same login credentials. So nothing is different. You don't need special, logins to access that. It's just going to be right in there. And so if we go over here to access that legacy from here, you just go to this like compass looking thingy, and then your website should be listed here. So just click on that. That typically brings you into the website editor portion of the legacy, but you are nonetheless in the legacy system. So from here, what you're going to do is go to email templates. Now, keep in mind, people, do not use this CRM system for your day-to-day business activities unless you're editing your website. This is an old CRM system. We just still have like a dump of information still on it. So here you're going to go to emails, and then you're going to go to email templates. So once you are on here, you can go into install new emails, and you will have different emails. Okay, so seller emails, just sold, open house, featured property, special events day. So you can preview what they are. Like there's a ton of happy birthday ones. If you want to select it, it's already kind of just got it all together for you, which you of course would edit that. And if you want to edit, like install just individual, you can. So if you want to just, for example, Happy Canada Day, I just want to install this one, I can put it under, install and close it. Or if I wanted to install all, let me just find one that maybe isn't as many. So maybe I want to install all these. I think I've already installed all these, but you install and close. And so once you've installed those, they will be in your CRM system. Okay, so when you go back to your system and you go to the email section and you go to your email templates, you're going to see the new categories. So you'll be able to see the new categories that you added and so on. So I have, I don't even know, events templates. So Merry Christmas, and again, or whatever it may be, you have that ability to go in, edit it. This, of course, is just a logo, which you would change the image in that case. So again, that's just how you do it. So it'll allow you to have more emails, more or less as a foundation to work off of, because a lot of the information is already in that email. It's really just tweaking it to be sounding more like yourself. And keeping in mind, if you are doing email campaigns, less is more. Okay, so if we have like these full wounded, like super long emails, most people won't take the time to read it, but it also appears to be like newslettery type. It's not like you actually sat there and wrote that email. Whereas if you have it as a shorter, a condensed email, it seems more like you actually took the time to send that email. And just going into our questions here. For support, okay. So Helen, you have that. So what you're going to do is over here on the left, you're going to go to website. So she wants to know again how to find these templates. So you're going to go to website. You're going to go to your website URL that is showing here. That is going to link you into the CRM, the legacy version. You're then just going to emails and then email templates and then install new emails. And once you're on this page, you can preview and you can install certain ones that you want to. Or you can go, I'm just going to, I guess you can send a sample to yourself if you wanted to, or you can go in here and install all of them. So then you have those available for yourself to kind of play around with. I did start playing around with some of them today just to kind of see what they were. Starting your home, that's next. So this is like something where if you have a seller coming in, what's next for you? So I just kind of modified it slightly. It wasn't even anything. Actually, I might not have. Maybe I didn't even save it. Yeah, I didn't even save it. So that was my bad. But just like editing it and tweaking it to sound like a little bit little bit more like yourself, right? And realistic, not template-y, that sort of thing in there. Perfect. So that is, so before we go here, I just want to make sure that no one's left behind. We have gone over, so I appreciate those that are still on here. Is there any questions that any of you guys have for me regarding any of this? As I said, it was being recorded, so you will get a copy. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to stream live. It still never actually did that. So I'll be copying this in the Facebook group once I download it. So Raj, you are going to talk to Karen. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to send Karen right now a message to contact you, okay? So let me just do that right now for you. Sit-in seller campaign. There we go. She has it. She will reach out to you with respect to that, kind of show you your options, whether you are doing a Facebook campaign, Google campaign. There are a couple different options. And so she'll go over that and what to expect and so on and so forth. And yes, so the Facebook group URL is, I'm going to put that right in the chat right now. So Sharon needs a refresh on filtering any webinars for that. We did sort of cover that in the beginning a little bit, one of our first webinars. Monday is going to be more of a, I'm still trying to figure out how to put it all together because it's more of like advanced features in the CRM system. So we can definitely go over all of that. And Sharon, so for any of you guys that are on here, if you guys haven't had any kind of training in here, we're working on trying to, assist our clients right now as much as we can. It is tough times. You need to, show you guys the value in what you have. So if you're interested in setting up some training, I'm going to share you the link for that to do that as well. So this will be CRM specific training. It's not going to be any kind of website or anything like that. They'll show you how to organize your current list of leads in your system, how to log things so that you can find those audiences. So filters, for example, the filters really, the system is quite intelligent. So as long as you guys are logging information, you can have it tell you exactly who you should be reaching out to. So it's really great that way. And if you have leads, so the filters really work well if you have leads in your system. If you don't have leads in your system, it's obviously harder because you don't have anything to work on. It would be more or less implementing this kind of thing, learning more about your website and how you can utilize those features. But it's definitely, once you start logging information, as I said, if you log it, they will come. So some of the filters that we do create for you guys, and so anyone that is watching, is these number 1 and 2. So this one here specifically pulls up people that we have never made contact with, but potentially have the opportunity to make contact with them. We then have one for your continuous contact with an individual or attempt of contact until you make contact with them. So that's a good one. We can create filters. So one of the filters for the 17th will be based on the open house. So how do you find the people in your database that are more likely to attend that open house so you can blast them the information? Because I'm sure we've all done it before where we've blasted a new listing and there's always one person that's like, why are you sending me this? I'm not looking for a condo. They think that it's just directed 100% toward them. So it allows you, those filters there. So if you do have leads in your system already, play around with the filters, see what they do as you're changing things. And if you have any questions, by all means, you guys can email me if you're like, hey, I got a database. I'm trying to create an audience for this. I can't figure out how to do it. Can you help me out? And I'd be more than happy to help you out using the filters that are in there and kind of walking through that together so that you have an understanding how that was put together for you. Can you send email, a video message? So Carrie, with respect to video in emails, they are not actually videos in emails, they are GIFs. So moving pictures. So yes, so that's similar to what BombBomb does. People pay BombBomb to do that. You can do that if you have a video anywhere. So whether it's a video that you have hosted on Facebook, a video that you have on YouTube, Vimeo. So basically all you do is you would go and again, I'm going to show you where the instructions, because I'm not going to go through it right now. But if you go over to the email section and again, click on the little question mark here in the top right-hand corner, the last article is going to show you how to add those videos in your email. Because again, it's just a moving image that links externally. So it looks like it's moving and you can have a video. So on Jiffy, you go to jiffy.com. And you create one. You can upload your YouTube. It has to be 15 minutes or less, just as a side note. But you can actually show it. So like if you're moving your hands or something's going on in there, it's going to show as if it's a video, and naturally people go to click on it to hear sound. And then that's when it just links them over to wherever they want to go. So yes, you can essentially add video in your email in a roundabout way. So there we go. So I think that is it for you guys today. Thank you all. If you need any assistance, by all means, or if you create a campaign and you just want another set of eyes on it, I'd be more than happy to do that for you guys, just to make sure that you've set it up properly, because the last thing you want it to like muck up or anything like that. If you guys do assign a campaign to someone, I just want to, so of course you can manually assign campaigns, right? So if you create that campaign, this part we didn't actually go over. So if you click on the lead's name, you would go email campaigns, and then you would just assign the campaign. So you would select the campaign that you want to use. So I'm going to go task new campaign and go assign. And yeah, so that's manually assigning somebody to a campaign. Now, if you click on it, it's going to show you all the different actions. So depending on what those actions are, and this is also if it's automatically assigned to, you'll be able to see all this. You can stop individual actions from actually happening if you don't want them to, for whatever reason. Maybe you had a conversation with Crystal about getting pre-approved, and one of the actions in your drip was about pre-approval. You could definitely stop that action from actually happening. If you click force, start, or stop from up here, that will force the entire campaign to go out all at once. So don't do that unless that's your full intentions, because the person on the end is going to get all the actions all at once. So like however many emails, how many SMS messages and things like that, it's just so that you don't make that error. Or you can stop the campaign as well. So just stopping it, and then you can start it again as well. Perfect. Awesome. So thank you guys. Again, if you need any help, I am here. I have a team of trainers. There's actually myself and 4 other trainers now at AgentLocator. So we're here to help you guys kind of get through this, learn most, leverage. And if you guys have any suggestions as far as webinars on what you guys would most benefit from, 100% over, like shoot them over to me. It's Crystal, CRY, just like here, at agentlocator.ca, and we'll figure out how we can kind of fix that into the swing of things and kind of go from there. We are thinking of doing some open Q&A sessions as well, so people can ask questions that are just, it's all about what you guys want to know. So thanks for watching. Happy Friday. Hope you're not getting too home, I don't know, stuck feeling. We'll chat with you guys on Monday if you guys are in here for our next webinar. Take care.